Watching the 10 p.m. broadcast this Saturday evening on India Today. Hello and welcome. I'm Smita Sharma, and our continuing coverage of that war for the Tamil throne continues. Now, the political deadlock continues in Tamil Nadu. AIADMK chief Sasikala returned to Ploy's garden in Chennai after meeting her party MLAs who had been huddled at the Golden Bay Resort in Kanchipuram for the last 72 hours and more. Now, addressing the media outside Ploy's garden, Sasikala attacked Governor Vidyasagr Rao. She said the delay by the governor was a ploy to divide the AIADMK. Let's listen into what Sasikala had to say.
Amma ready. Amma is ready. Madam, ipa நீங்க ஆட்சி அமைக்க உரிமை கோரி 48 மணி நேரம் ஆகுது.
So remember, Sasikala, of course, seated on the front seat of the car in that green sari, reminding obviously of Jayalalitha Amma, everybody trying to get that legacy right, the symbolisms right. Let me cut across live, in fact, to Padmaja Joshi, who has been reporting and getting us all the updates from outside Ploy's garden, where Sasikala Natarajan now stays. Padmaja, take us through the essence of what Sasikala Natarajan says, because earlier she had said wait and watch, and now she comes in and attacks the governor. Do you think that this is a new strategy that the AIADMK is coming up with now starting tomorrow?
She actually did say that tomorrow morning we are going to look for new means to protest. Remember, this is the third time that a veiled warning, threat, putting him on notice, call it what you will, Smita, has been done by someone in the Sasikala camp. Twice it has been done by she herself, and one other time by a leader from her faction. But the thing is that her nervousness at this point seems to be coming out quite clearly. But why is there this sense of fear or nervousness? Let me get in my colleague Revati on that. Is it because the steady trickle of people who are leaving her camp and moving towards OPS? Earlier it was just members of parliament, founding members, but he struck 3 major blows, and now we have hearts changing faster than the weather here in Chennai, Revati.
Yes, absolutely, Padmaja. That is very clear through the days. Now, in the words that she had written to the governor as well, she mentioned that it's been so many days you're not swearing in VK Sasikala. Now, as days pass by, the number of people who are moving to OPS camp is increasing, and that is exactly and clearly the reason that Sasikala is feeling nervous at the moment, and her repeated attempts to get appointments with the governor. Before she met, the governor decided to meet Paneerselvam and Sasikala. Even before that, Sasikala had made repeated attempts to get an appointment with the governor. She had faxed him, called him, but she never managed to get one. She was not successful in that. Even after her meeting with the governor and Paneerselvam's meeting with the governor, there has not been any final decision from the governor's side. So governor has been keeping all of them waiting for so long that now the impatience, the irritation, the nervousness, disappointment is all out there. It is very clear in the words that she is using, and also in the bites that she's giving to the media as well. Not the whale attack, it's out there. She's saying wait and see. There are Sengotian saying that we will until Sunday evening you have time. It's a threat that is giving out, a deadline that is given to the governor. So they have definitely moved from what they were before. That impatience is out there seen very clearly, and threats and deadlines coming out right now clearly because what is happening in the last few days, the erosion of support from Sasikala's camp to Paneerselvam's camp.
And the longer there is for this floor test to take place, the more the likelihood of people crossing over. Here's exactly what Sasikala, who is now looking mildly irritated, in fact, had to say soon after she returned to Ploy's garden.
I met all the MLAs at the resort. They are very happy. The AIADMK is one big family. It was heartwarming to see them. Just wait and watch, you'll see.
And in fact, in the latest that's coming in, Revati, one more MLA is likely to move over. What would this bring the tally to in the last few days?
Well, initially when she submitted the list of MLAs, it was over 130 MLAs that were there. But I spoke to the Tahsildar who went and took the statements of these MLAs in the resort earlier today, and he said that he spoke to 95 MLAs in the Golden Bay Resort and another 19 MLAs that another Tahsildar spoke to. That is a total of 114 MLAs that the Tahsildars spoke to and took statements of. Now, of these 114, one more person coming out. Even then, yes, the majority still lies with Sasikala. Padmaja, remember, if you notice, the erosion is very, very slow. It's one person per day that is happening. So, how many more days will the governor wait? Today, Sasikala has even come out and accused the governor of actually creating this delay in order to...
about this sort of insidious conspiracy, as it.
He's saying that governor is perhaps trying to split the AIADMK. She has come to that point at the moment. So, how long will the governor also wait now with the kind of number of MLAs that is eroding towards the Pannirselvam camp, 1 or 2 per day that is happening. So we do not know how long will this go on for if governor delays his decision.
All right, so the number of MLAs switching over may be very minuscule at this point, but if they sense the wind blowing in the other direction, Smita, who knows that maybe when the floor test actually takes place, they go with the popular sentiment, and while they might be in the resort today, who knows, they'll be on OPS's side when it comes to voting.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, for all of them, the secretariat will be more important, and in Tamil Nadu, perhaps it's most pertinent. This Raat Ki Subha Nahi has been playing out for the last 4-5 days now. But Padmaja, do stay on with us because, in fact, MG Ramachandran, the post-MGR era is something that people are comparing the current political situation constantly to. And MGR's relative, in fact, have spoken exclusively to India today. MGR's relative, Praveen, says that he's saddened by the developments in Tamil Nadu. He says that Narendra Modi is a strong leader and he would join the BJP soon. Let's listen in.
As crisis deepens in Tamil Nadu with O.P. Pannirselvam as well as Sasikala staking claim for forming the government, we have with us MGR's grandson, MCR Praveen. We will speak to him. Mr. Praveen, how do you look at the developments which is happening at the moment in Tamil Nadu?
So, personally, I would say that this was something that was expected. AIADMK has been blessed with a good leader for the last 1.5 decades, and usually a demise of a leader like this would leave a huge void. There are parties that don't have the entire confidence of the party members today, and they are contending for something that they feel is their right. I personally feel a little sad that a party that was formed for fighting against corruption and evil practices across the society is right now subject to a lot of tit for tat, especially fighting for positions and power. That's something that's a little depressing.
So one side we have a leader who has the public support, and the other side who is the leader of the party, and the party is strongly rallying behind her. So whom do you support?
So either individual, they don't need my support today because I'm not officially a member of the ADMK anymore. But having been a past member there, I know that the party was founded by late MG Ramachandran with a very clear idea of making sure the party was for the people. So by saying this, I'm referring to the point where the party was founded with a constitution, a bylaw and a constitution, where the general secretary always had to be a people-elected individual and not somebody who would show strength through MLAs or through fights across the assembly. So I would hope that they revert back to that constitution, have a generic democratic election, and ask every member of the party to pick who they would want as the All India Anna Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam General Secretary.
Whom do you support at the moment?
Again, neither of them. I would prefer the people picking the individual. I don't think any one individual has to say who the head of the party should be. Anybody who comes unanimously elected through the party, I would be very happy with them.
So the once, of course, was that era when Jayalalitha had to fight for MGR's legacy with the Janaki, and now Sasikala and O. Pannirselvam with daggers drawn fighting for Jayalalitha's legacy. The high political, in fact, drama continues in Tamil Nadu 5 days after senior O. Pannirselvam rebellion gaining momentum. Feeling the pinch, AIADMK General Secretary Sasikala wrote a letter to Governor Vidyasagr Rao seeking an appointment as well.
On Sunday, AIADMK boss Sasikala called Tamil Nadu Chief Minister O Selvam for a meeting. Moments later, O Selvam tenders his resignation. But come Tuesday, everything changed. Selvam raised the banner of revolt against Chinnamma. Since then, Tamil Nadu's interim Chief Minister rebellion is gaining momentum. First, with senior AIADMK leader E. Madhusudanan joining his camp, and now, a week later, Tamil Nadu's Education Minister and Sasikala loyalist K. Pandeyarajan switching sides, stating public sentiment as the core reason behind joining the sides.
The last 7 days, I've had groundswell of popular support. There are at least 7,000 calls I would have received in the last 7 days. Every one of the voting public in my constituency has been talking about how OPS is the person who would hold the legacy of Purochi Thalaivar and Purochi Thalaivi.
On Saturday, feeling the pinch of the entire movement, Sasikala first wrote a letter to Tamil Nadu's acting Governor Vidyasagr Rao seeking an appointment to prove her majority, and later visiting the Golden Bay Resort to meet her party MLAs with her loyalists. But the biggest blow after party's founder Ponniyin joined OPS camp, calling OPS the true leader of Tamil Nadu.
புரட்சி தலைவர் எம்ஜிஆரின் இதயக்கனி புரட்சி தலைவி அம்மா அவர்கள் உடல்நலமின்றி மருத்துவமனையில் அனுமதிக்கப்பட்ட நாளிலிருந்து பெற்ற தாய்க்கு உடல்நலிவு ஏற்பட்டால்
As the fearsome political power play continues between Camp Sasikala and Camp Selvam, the OPS faction is feeling strengthened by the big-ticket crossovers by senior leaders, while Camp Sasikala is feeling the pinch, both by the senior-level deserters who've abandoned her ship, as well as the national spotlight on the MLAs who are still holed up in that resort outside Chennai. As this huge political tug-of-war continues, both sides also know that the trump card remains, as always, with Governor Vidyasagar Rao. With video journalist Ankur Arora in Chennai, Shiv Arur for India Today.
And Padmaja, my colleague, is reporting from outside of Ploy's garden. Padmaja, you know, it's past 10 p.m. Chennaiites normally go off to bed pretty early. But what's happening there outside Ploy's garden? You know, what's a normal day routine now? Since the last 5 days, do people trickle in at these hours, try and support whom they want to support?
I think the happenings of the last 1 week, or rather the last 1 month, have changed Chennai's sleeping habits just a little bit, Smita. Just to give you a fair idea, you know, the kind of crowd that we saw early in the morning and in the afternoon has thinned out, but there's still these hopeful stragglers who hang around thinking that maybe just for a little while Chinnamma will step out. I have to tell you that I experienced it firsthand, you know, when we came to Ploy's garden. It was my first day in Ploy's garden today, and it was almost as if on cue Sasikala returned after having visited her MLAs at the Golden Bay Resort, and in the absolute melee that followed, you know, people weren't expecting her to stop, but she did slow down for a little bit, had the light inside the cabin of the car switched on. She was sitting there acknowledging her supporters, and people just rushed towards her, and I was sort of a bad battle casualty, you know, with my finger injured, but no harm done. But that being said, yes, there is some support for her here as well.
Right.
But for now, people have thinned out. Whether this is going to continue over the next few days as well, there's going to be a thinning of the support, I suspect, is what Sasikala is fearing.
Absolutely there, Padmaja. You know, in Tamil Nadu, especially when it comes to parties like the AIADMK, DMK, the cadres are so used to that cult status of politics and fanfare. But do stay on with us, because in Tamil Nadu's Game of Thrones, an unlikely resort, politics took centre stage as MLAs continued to switch sides through the day and allegations flew over Chinnamma's illegal confinement politics. Sasikala made her way to the Golden Bay Resort to meet her loyalist MLAs. Take a look at how things unraveled there.
Amma ready. Amma is ready. Madam, இப்ப நீங்க ஆட்சி அமைக்க உரிமை கோரி 48 மணி நேரம் ஆகுது.
I have to give you that updated report on what really happened when Chinnamma went into the resort. There was an anti-Chinnamma protest too. She spent nearly 4 hours there with the MLAs who were huddled in. And what we were told is that, of course, there are 94 MLAs now currently, according to estimates, of which perhaps 50 have signed their support to Chinnamma, but 44 still seem hesitant, because of which Sasikala Natarajan came out looking pretty upset, and she told the MLAs that, this is not going to work. Padmaja, through the day today, there was also that speculation coming in that perhaps Sasikala might want to replace the chief ministerial face from her camp. Even if she were to do that, if we are talking about 94 MLAs, it's a 235 assembly in Tamil Nadu. These numbers are not comfortable enough even for her.
In fact, the numbers, as sources are telling us, are slightly higher. They are somewhere in the region of about 114, 115 right now. But what is ironic is that the thing that Sasikala is considering right now is to find an OPS of her own, which basically means that someone who can stand in as Chief Minister if the verdict in the DA case, in the disproportionate assets case, goes against her. Someone who will be more or less a puppet Chief Minister, someone who will happily vacate as and when Sasikala comes out. Who could be the possible candidates? Let me ask Revati about that. Who are the people who could possibly be chosen as alternatives for Sasikala, given that now you are seeing a groundswell of support for OPS and people who are casting aspersions about her capability as Chief Minister, or her likelihood as Chief Minister?
Well, the immediate, yes, Sasikala's one option would be to find a Paneerselvam inside her camp itself, because in the note that we had earlier seen of the government's line of thought, we had seen that the governor was thinking about how this would not be a stable government if she's sworn in as a chief minister and an adverse verdict comes in the DA case. So in that form, in that part of the concern, perhaps choosing one such person, a Paneerselvam inside her own camp itself.
Someone who's already a legislator, because that note also spoke about how the likelihood of her getting elected is not very high.
Yes, but also, Padmaja, now even if you elect somebody as such, but do you, how much can she be sure of whether that person will stick to the camp? Because we are seeing every day people who are really the top leaders also moving away, roading to the Paneerselvam camp. So who can she be sure of? At this point, there is that nervousness that she cannot maybe trust anybody as such. And even the MLAs are concerned about that, because the MLAs who are in the resort, we are told from by our colleagues there, including Ashish, that they are also not very happy being lodged there in a house arrest, because that shows that she does not trust the MLAs.
In fact, Revati, it's not just about the fear about these this man, man or woman, whoever she decides to install, crossing over, but what about that person himself or herself developing chief ministerial ambitions? Look at what happened with O Paneerselvam. 1 minute he was proposing her name as the CM elect, and the next thing you know,
and if that were to happen, Padmaja, perhaps somebody like a Paneerselvam would end up banging his head on the wall as to what was wrong with me then if you had somebody else as a chief minister. But many thanks for joining us even at this late hour. Padmaja Joshi, Revati Rajivan reporting there from outside of Ploy's garden.